We live in a time where it's cool to be evil. And if you are speaking the truth, then you are considered lethal. Dang. Please do not let them deceive you. The Most High is coming back soon with vengeance and wrath for the evil. I do not care if they kill me. You see, 'cause my soul is immortal. The money and gold not important. The Most High restoring the order. I pray for your sons and your daughter. Real.
Hey, what's good, fam? So today I wanted to talk about why is it so important what Yeshua looks like, or why is it so important what Jesus looks like. Some people, mostly Gentiles, usually still use the name Jesus, but why is it so important what he looked like? What is the big deal, right? So to just kind of sum it up before we begin, if Yeshua is black, then the Jews are black because Yeshua is a Jew. If Yeshua is white, then the Jews are white, right? So for sure, Yeshua is a Jew. But what does that mean? That means by birth, by lineage. Okay, remember that Mashiach would come through the tribe of Judah. Okay, so it was already known that Mashiach would be a Jew. That's what the old prophet said. So that brings up then really the importance of what he looked like, because who are the Jews? That's really the root of where that question leads. So the question, why is it important what Yeshua looked like, leads to who are the Jews. So let's take a look. Okay, so we'll take a look at a couple passages in Revelation. Okay, and for Judah has been awakened and is continuing to awake for a while. Judah being the house of Judah, the southern tribes, the Jews. And so I'm sure that many Jews or blacks, some people call African American, but many of the Jews have been waking up, and they're going to be familiar with these passages. But let's take a look again at this. So this is Revelation chapter 2. It was written by an Israelite, a Jew, John, and John is speaking and being spoken to by Yeshua. Okay, so here in verse 8, we'll start here, and it says, "And to the angel of the church in Smyrna write, these things says the first and the last, who was dead and came to life." Okay, so we know Yeshua is speaking here. "I know your works." Okay, and he's talking to the angel of the church in Smyrna. "I know your works, tribulation and poverty, but you are rich, and I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan." Okay, so that's a strong statement. But we're going to keep this in mind, and then we'll skip over to the next chapter, okay, where he's talking to another church. But this is the subtitle gives us that this is a persecuted church, right? And he says that in the next verse, "Do not fear any of those things which you are about to suffer." Okay, so let's go to chapter 3, and then same area or same verse, but we'll start at verse 7 to get the context. Okay, so this time we're talking about a faithful church. "And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things says he who is holy, he who is true, he who has the key of David, he who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens." Okay, so again, this is Yeshua speaking. "I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Where you have a little strength, have kept my word, and have not denied my name. Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Indeed, I will make them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you." So, both of these verses in chapter 3 and chapter 2, okay, speaking to these two churches here, a counterfeit people who claim they are Jews has arisen, okay? And it clearly upset Yeshua that these people are saying that they are a certain people and that they are not actually, okay? Yeshua is clearly, like, he got a little passionate here. So is race important? I would actually say no, because race is deceptive. However, when you say, remember, Jew means you are of a specific lineage, okay? So Jews are Israelites of the southern tribes of Israel, okay? So people are claiming to be of a lineage that they are not, okay? And so you may be able to say, well, these things don't matter to me, but we can clearly see that they matter to Yeshua. So those who serve Yeshua and serve Yah, the God of Israel, I don't know how you say that this doesn't matter to you. It matters to your king, so it should matter to you. So let's take a look between the difference between race and lineage. Am I getting ahead? Okay, not yet. Okay, yeah. We'll look at one more passage, and then we'll look at a picture that kind of sums everything up between race and lineage. I thought it was a good picture. So let's take a look at same book, Revelation. And let's see. Okay, so verse 16 of chapter 22. Okay, so this is Yeshua testifying to the churches. In verse 16 it says, I, Yeshua, have sent my angel to testify to you these things in the churches. Okay, that's exactly what the subtitle says, so they got it correct. Then he continues to say, I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. Now, this is, again, the book of Revelation. Okay, that means that this book was written after the ascension of Yeshua. Okay, so Yeshua has already died and resurrected from the earth, and he is saying, I am the root and the offspring of David. Okay, so he's still repping his lineage even after his ascension. Okay, so not only does lineage matter, but lineage matters under the new covenant. Okay, so clearly he makes it very clear who he is by lineage. Okay, so let's take a look at what did I put in here for this? Okay, and Hamite. Okay, so I thought this was a really cool picture here that summed it up well. Okay, so this shows in a really easily digestible way the difference between race and lineage. Okay, by race, everybody in this picture, 100% of the people in here by race are black. However, by lineage, then we see a difference. By lineage, this is a Hebrew Israelite. By lineage, this is what we consider a Hamite by lineage, but modern terms we would say that he's African. Okay, these men are African. This man is Israelite. Okay, so that's the difference in summed up in an image between race and lineage. Okay, so as we saw, all people in this picture by race are black. So we can see and deduce that race hides your lineage. Okay, if they didn't know their lineage, how would you differentiate? How would he differentiate? Which has been the problem with us in the diaspora. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so Jeremiah 23. So let's take a look at what Jeremiah 23, 7, 8 says. Because now we understand that lineage is very important, but what can we do with that information? Okay, Jeremiah 23 and verse 7 is here. So it says, "Therefore, behold, the days are coming, says Yah, that they shall no longer say, as Yah lives, who brought up the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, but as Yah lives, who brought up and led the descendants of the house of Israel from the north country, and from all the countries where I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land." Okay, so clearly this is talking about actually both the Exodus. So it begins with a reference to the ancient Exodus, okay, when Israel came out of the land of Egypt. And then it talks about a future Exodus when Israel has been dispersed among the nations and they will come out of all the nations. Okay, so again, this is where it's very important, okay, because we just saw in Revelation 2 and chapter 3 that a counterfeit people would arise. Okay, so if you're looking at the wrong people, if you're looking at a counterfeit Israel, okay, thinking that they're true Israel, then you're going to come to different conclusions as to where we are on the prophetic timeline. Okay, which when those things don't happen that you expected to happen, that could hurt your faith. Okay, hurting your faith can now hurt the welfare of your soul. Okay, so we see that it can become very, very important. So some people may associate this to 1948. Okay, but if so, it says, "As Yah lives, who brought up and led the descendants of the house of Israel from the north country." So where is this north country that they came out of? "And from all the countries where I had driven them." Okay, so all the countries, there's a lot of countries in Africa. Did we see Jews coming out of Africa back into the state of Israel? I think that there's still Jews that are still trying to get into that land right now. The Ethiopian Jews, they continue to try to get back to the land early. Okay, but we need to wait until the Most High calls us out of our captivity, right? So anyway, if you're looking at that group of people, okay, then you're looking at 1948, but some things don't necessarily add up there, right? However, if you're looking at the black people that have been dispersed into the diaspora, right, that are now waking up and to realize our true heritage as Jews, right, as was prophesied. This makes a little more sense, and also you're going to come to a different conclusion as to what this North Country is. Okay, that's also important because in Zechariah 2, by the way, that North Country, or the land of the North, it comes up multiple places throughout Scripture, but I'll just go up to Zechariah 2 here. Let's see. Okay, so verse 6, up, flee from the land of the North, right? Says Yah, for I have spread you abroad like the four winds of heaven. That sounds familiar. Sounds like what we just read in Jeremiah 23. I will spread you abroad like the four winds of heaven, says Yah. Up Zion, escape you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon. Okay, so the daughter of Babylon is now specifically associated to this land of the north. Okay, now as for another topic that the daughter of Babylon does come up again and go into detail what will happen to her. Okay, so That's another helpful hint as to who the people are and who may be the counterfeit. Okay? In any case, your understanding of who Israel is directly associated to how you interpret prophecy. Okay? So that's very, very important. Anyway, so all this, remember, is for the focus of this this talk as to why it is important to know who Israel is, right? Okay, so let's look at Jeremiah 30. And then I think it's 12 through 17. Yeah. All right, so here it says, "For thus says Yah, your affliction is incurable, your wound is severe. There is no one to plead your cause, that you may be bound up. You have no healing medicines. All your lovers have forgotten you. They do not seek you, for I have wounded you with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of your iniquities, because your sins have increased. Why do you cry about your affliction? Your sorrow is incurable. Because of the multitude of your iniquities, because your sins have increased, I have done these things to you." Okay, that the Most High has done these things to us. "Therefore, all those who devour you shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. Those who plunder you shall become plunder, and all who prey upon you I will make a prey, for I will restore health to you and heal you of your wounds, says Yah, because they called you an outcast, saying, 'This is Zion, no one seeks her.'" Okay, so verse 16 here, okay, well, the first portion of this is a father chastising his children. Okay, and he's saying, "I did these things to you because you were disobedient." The last two chapters is saying people, the situation was not recognized, and what I mean by that is the nations did not recognize that we were being disciplined by our Father. Okay, they thought, oh, this is now we have the we got the jump on them, so they completely abused and tormented us, and so now the Father is not going to hold his hand back. He was holding his hand back from them because he was still disciplining us, but now the discipline is ending, and so I hope that they are starting to understand, but in any case, we know that they're not going to understand, right? Because it already tells us that all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. Okay, so, and this is on the cause, because they called you an outcast, saying, "This is Zion, no one seeks her." So they disrespected his children, and so now they're gonna feel the wrath of the Most High as well. In any case, when did this happen? If this already should have happened if the people are already back in the land. Okay, so it's very important to understand. Like if you haven't come to the conclusion of who Israel is, I would definitely recommend that you look into it. Okay, because one people is a counterfeit, and Yeshua considers them the synagogue of Satan. Okay, so one of them represents Satan, and the other people represent the children of the Most High. And if you don't know which one is which, and you're siding with the counterfeit people, then you just set yourself up against the Most High. So this is very important, and this is why lineage matters, not necessarily race, because we just talked about it. Race is deceptive. Race won't tell you whether what lineage a people are. It'll just tell you that, oh, that person is black or white or Asian or whatever. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so that's another thing. So let's see, Matthew 22. Because we just read that all that judgment is going to come upon the adversaries against Zion, right? So that tells you in itself that this is a huge deception that will be successful against many people. Let's see. What was it? Oh, 36. Okay, we'll start at verse 34 here. And it tells you, the scribes, which is the first commandment of all. So it says, but when the Pharisees had heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, he being Yeshua, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him. Okay, so they got a canon lawyer over here and saying, teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? Yeshua said to him, you shall love Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Okay, so the Most High kept it real simple. He says, look, just love me and love others. Okay? So even if you didn't know who the counterfeit people are and who are the real children, you're already told to love everybody. Okay? So this is actually become, in my opinion, this has become a huge hindrance specifically for Gentiles, okay? Because the Jews' actual identity has been hidden, right? We have a hidden identity among the world, and the world has continuously shown hate for us, right? And so you really shouldn't need to know our lineage, if that makes sense. So people who are saying, what does it matter? In a way, they're right? Like, well, it shouldn't matter, but it does matter, right? Like, clearly, things have come down specifically upon us, specifically targeting Jews. So it does clearly matter, but they're right that it should not matter. Okay, so that's it for this talk today. I just wanted to go over that. What does it matter whether Yeshua is black or white, and how race is different from lineage? All right, so I hope you guys are having a great Juneteenth week. All praises to the Most High and to the Lamb. Peace to all.